Arrivai con Adonsis, ogni subate acciaccanotato, nelle divulgazioni. Ora, divulgazioni non muoiono, scannesse, non muoiono, non connecorio, hawi, guarda, ginigi, e cannaioto, non
Yay!
Yay.
So, Edith, do you want me to just give the more few updates that we have?
Yeah, that's the next one. Ideas.
And don't hesitate if you've got extra one that I forget, because we have so many things going on right now.
Just to say that Amy is at the Longhouse too, and she makes a big hi for everybody.
Hello, Amy. So it was a very important and strategic interview this morning with Radio Anticosti. So just to let you know that Stuart's teaching, according to Stuart's teachings, Anticosti Island represents the valve of the heart of our Mother Earth that expels, makes the blood leave the heart. So again, according to Stuart, the importance of this island is crucial for the entire planet, for what it represents, because of the role it plays. If they were to do any sort of shale gas extraction or anything like that, it would mean the pollution of the entire bloodstream of our Mother Earth. So it's an important radio interview, and we will share all information, of course, to you as soon as we have it. It's supposed to be aired in December. Just to answer your question, Jessie, it's the Anticosti Island. It starts with an Anticosti, Anticosti Island. It's on Innu territory. To also update you on the historical women's declaration translations that are now coming. So you all know that we have the translation in French, English, Spanish, and German as of yet, and we have now confirmed that we will get the declaration in Russian and Arabic. So that's really good news. So each time we have, for precision, each time the declaration is actually translated, that means a new country. It's actually a person that contacted us and showed like a great interest in the declaration and asked basically how they could help. And they are living, say, in Germany, and they are living in Switzerland. So they are actually developing the entire country as we speak. There's also Switzerland. There's a lady there connected to about 30 very, very active women, Earth Guardian, that are joining the group. That happened yesterday, actually. So the declaration is already in French, of course. So it wasn't a matter of translating it, but she's actively, they're on fire. They just joined the private group of the Row Wampum. So I'm sure we'll hear from them. There is the public Facebook group that was created, that was already existing, but we didn't really work with it so far. It was created with the help of Daniel Morin. So I invite you to like that page. It could be repetitive because both pages, of course, will be sharing similar information. So it's important to have a public group, because as Daniel Morin explained to us, is to have a public group on a Row Wampum page. It's important to be able to share our events, because right now the events created under the private group cannot be shared publicly. So we invite everybody to join the other group for that reason. So you'll be able to invite more people, because it's more of a neutral page. So we'll see how it goes. So the private group is the little core say that are ready to just work on peace in the world, basically. So, and also just to give you an update for Baba, you heard him earlier. Today is maybe low energy day for him, and yesterday he had an amazing day, lots of energy. So it's a bit of a roller coaster for him right now. So keep on sending these good thoughts. So it was really great that some of you, I think of Francine Villemer, Daniel Morin, Mark, anyway, they all participated. They had this initiative to get a really nice product that really helped Baba. It's a drinkable aloe vera, and we've seen that hydration for him is key. So anyways, we want to also thank you for this initiative. So I think that's the news for tonight so far. Lots are gonna happen also in the following weeks, so we'll keep you posted.
Just maybe another news to share with the group is that Valentina, who was here this summer in the law recital, so this guy that is friends of Valentina's dad, he's a researcher and he's interested in native issues and environmental issues, and he already published 2 dictionaries in native languages to Spanish, which is Tzetzal, it's like the Mayan language, and another kind of I don't remember exactly the name, but it's another Mayan language. And this is just starting. It's something very new that was just approached to the Longhouse. So it's a dictionary that will have the history of matrilineal law. And this is something that will just start coming up. So we can keep you informed. So Stuart is not there. Sometimes traffic is still complicated.
I also had another idea of the things that we ask online. So a bit of something that we share with the people that ask us how they can help. Basically, all friends that we might have, all social media network and all that. If you can find some people that speak different languages of the ones that we talked about earlier, to have the declaration translated into even more languages. I mean, we want it in all languages. So that's an invitation also to people if you want to get involved. And I've been doing it, and it's quite amazing. I mean, it's just like lately I haven't sent that many messages at all. Like that German, it was a German lady, and she instantly said yes, and I didn't even ask anything else. And I think the trick is just to read the declaration. It's a great way to get in touch with any friends we might have, and then if feel the call, of course, then if they want to translate it. So it's just a suggestion if people want to get involved on this. So just to update you also on what we normally ask people when they say, oh, what can we do in relation to the declaration? We are normally they film themselves reading the declaration, and then they send the film to us so we can share it on social media. So that was happening up to yesterday, and then now we're adding a new twist to that. We say to them, if they feel so, of course, to actually film their comment following the reading of the declaration, and they feel, and what they're spontaneously, the visions or actions that they want to take. And that is even more, I think, nourishing for all the community. So because tonight, of course, is to continue the men's declaration work. So certainly it's a men's declaration. We'll wait for Stuart for that. So I thought that maybe we can, in waiting for Stuart, we could just maybe brainstorm a few ideas that maybe people would like to share in relation to the women's declaration, things, suggestion, feedback, anything, any comments. So France is asking about social financing, like if anybody has worked in funding project previously. So it's an initiative from France to do social financing for the Longhouse. So anyone, of course, like again, it's always on a voluntary base, but if you feel called to do something, then she suggests that people could meet via Mumble during the afternoon one day, and then do a brainstorming on this if people want to help. France, maybe we can ask you to put your email onto the Framapad so people can get in touch. So if you know anyone that could help, let France know. So France said that she will share her email onto the Framapad, and she's asking if people interested to support her in this initiative, if this Thursday could be a good time. Are you talking about tomorrow?
Yeah, I'd like to see whoever is interesting already and see what we can do from now.
So you can get in touch with her via the chat on the Framapad. So is there anyone that would like to say a little comment, feedback on what we share, maybe on all the activities and all the stuff happening? What are your feelings about that? So you can speak if you want. So just as we say, just ask on the chat if you want to speak. Just say a little word like parole or speak or something like that. So Christine is at ELSA right now. Christine has been involved with the Longhouse for many, many years, and she says that it's a great idea about the social financing. And she says also that she'd like to be involved. She has a lot of experience in that, and she's done concert in the past where they raise money, all that sort of thing. And she would be happy to be with the group.
This music album that would be fun to record with Baba that we could use for the social financing. So the idea would be to take a word in Ganyangeha and, for example, Gayandawana, which means pal, and to have us build a song with a melody around this Ganyangeha word, and to have Baba explain the roots over the song, over the melody. Alors Baba, il parlerait à propos de ce mot-là et de ces concepts-là, de ces images-là. So we were thinking to have it like a women's choir and a men's choir, and to have them sing in harmony with drums. So very acoustic, natural, organic sounds. Basically like a healing album, so that we are giving a gift to the world and giving a gift to ourselves, and especially to the Longhouse and to all the indigenous people.
Amazing, Christine. Thank you so much for that. So she heard about you, Christine, and it's a breath of fresh air to hear you tonight. And she's really happy that you're here. So she says that she would love to do something around Are You of the Great Peace.
And it's so funny that it's being said now, because I was saying that to somebody. I don't know if it was you, France, or somebody else, but I was talking about how Stuart showed us that word, that phrase actually, with a song, because we couldn't really remember it, so we needed to do a song. So Saigon's gonna go again. So it is like after the tree of peace was planted. Imagine like one day everybody's warring, and just they plant the tree, and the following day they are not warring anymore. So it's peace. So in the following days after that, they will be like careful, like, is it true? Is it like a dream? Are we really in peace? So the way of saying hi would be that Saigon's gonna go again. And sometimes today people will say hi with saying Saigon, but Saigon doesn't really mean nothing as a hi, because it just means more, literally, the word. So the salute is Saigon's gonna go again. So the song is as follows, and if everybody wants to sing, Saigon's gonna go again. Saigon's gonna go again. Saigon's gonna go again. Saigon's gonna go again.
That was years ago.
And Stuart is just here.
So I just wanted to quickly introduce Maryse. She's just arrived, and nobody knows her. She just heard about us. And Alain, he talked to her about us, and she just seen us online, and she decided to join us. So welcome to Maryse in our group. So just to say that, no, it wasn't with her that Edith has spoken initially regarding that Seigo's Kanagawaga. And also Edith, France was asking Edith to write it in the Framapad the way it's spelled. So in her initiatives, France said that she had actually this vision of using Seigo's Kanagawaga, so she's super excited. So
just so you know, is that I have a problem with my computer since a long time ago, that whenever I use only my mouse, it will seem like I am pressing Control. So you hear me or hear us when you shouldn't. So it's disturbing everybody. So I'm just gonna send that to France, and she will all paste it on the Framapad afterwards after we're done the mumble. So everybody has that. Stuart?
So do you mean everyone else can hear us when we're talking sometimes?
No, only if I move my mouse trying to get to the Framapad.
So people could hear us?
Yeah.
Oh. Okay, if anybody hears me talking about you, just forget about it. Okay, first I want to apologize for last week and for being late tonight. But since my father's condition had worsened, it's not too often that I get free time where I can work or try to get some money going, so I have to do it whenever I can. Okay, that being said, I want to relate to you what it is that we are seeing happening right now. Some of you, we have been talking closely about what's happening in the world events, the things that are happening pertaining to the women, and the motions in the directions of war. Myself, what I do is I look at a lot of different things, And this is how I gauge what's happening in society. And this is what I am seeing right now. There is, of course, like always, there has always been this oppression upon the women. But of course, right now, it is increasing. The women think that they are getting some type of freedom to say, come out and say, me too, or this is happening, or that's happening. Women are becoming brave. They are freeing up within themselves. But the actions that they are taking, responding to their bravery, is leading all the women of this world into a deeper male oppression, a systemic male oppression. So, of course, as the women believe that they got this freedom to stand up and say to their governments and to the legal system, hey, this is happening to us and we want these corrections, what it does, again, is it puts the woman into a deeper oppression. It's like if you could imagine that scenario that we gave before, that very ugly scenario of a woman being beaten into submission and then being raped. Now, if you think from that point where the man has beaten her into submission and he is raping her, then when she awakens or comes to her senses, if she starts to punch the man in his chest or something, or scratch his eye, then of course the man knows that that's where he is going to send all of his oppression right to those areas where the women believe that they are getting freed up. Women think right now that they are getting a freedom, a type of equality. It's true. Women are becoming equal with men now through applying more and more to the systemic oppressions of male dominance. The women are actually teaching that system how to adjust to the women, not to adjust to stop the oppression, but how to adjust, how to appease those women to make them believe that they are accomplishing something. Because when we look in general about women wanting equality, I'll identify the largest end of the spectrum. Of women having equality would be to have the ability to join the armed forces. Some of you have heard me speak of this in the past year, and I warned everybody as to what was happening if one woman was accepted by all the other women, accepted to join the armed forces, to become a killer, that it would be the new lowest standard of equality for women. Well, of course, you know, women have been in military for years. But everyone is going to become, everyone is going to see on a large scale now the conscription of women into the army. We were at an event last night at McGill University. It was hosted by a group called
World WISE, WIISE.
Oui, c'était, ça s'appelait Women in International Security.
We want everybody to look at their website, because right now this organization is going into universities targeting teenage girls around the world. And they are programming to do the worst kind of oppression, or I'll say for the oppressor, the most successful type of oppression would be to have the one that you are oppressing now do the work for you. And so women, as you know, as being life givers, are to bring life into the world, and men are to be the life protectors. But the new lowest standard for women that sets the standard for all women now is to have women actively become a part of their own conscription into the military. The oppression has become complete. The life taker of the non-native male has spread his poison into the women, and are now turning your teenage girls into life takers. This, everybody has known this to some degree, you know, here and there. But this is now a worldwide United Nations effort attacking your daughters. Now, this, of course, is the reason, the purpose behind the Women's Declaration. But of course, as you know now, that we started a couple of weeks ago onto the Men's Declaration. Of course, it deals with, speaks of the same things, but in different ways. The women, of course, have to address the world as from being life givers and identify, of course, how they are being attacked on those levels. The men have to identify that they are supposed to be the life protectors and then identify the things that they have to do to fulfill that role. So it's two responsibilities. We don't have to go into detail here, but the reality is, of course, two different roles that the women and men play. Now, as this pace has been picking up against the women around the world as into what we just identified. Now there is something increasing within the men's domain or the men's realm. For quite some time now, a few weeks, I have had some suspicions about situation of on international level, and it was concerning our friends within Venezuela. Anyways, we went to speak to our friends yesterday in the Venezuelan consulate, and I had presented some suspicions that I've had about what was happening on the larger scale as to what is being done, aggressed against Venezuela. And my questions, my thoughts on this were confirmed to me yesterday. So I see in the larger world, internationally, something increasing on the military side. And then today, I guess everybody heard as to what happened in The Hague today in the World Court. Okay, if nobody heard, this is what took place. The people who were charged, from the genocide in Bosnia-Herzegovina in 91, 92, there was, I think, 6 or 7 generals, high-ranking people who were charged with international war crimes. Slobodan Milosevic was charged and sentenced to, I forget how much last week. Anyways, he was found guilty. He was sentenced. Now, today, there was another guy by the name of Slobodan something. He was charged with war crimes and sentenced to 20 years. But something happened today in that court. He stood up and he yelled and he said he does not recognize the verdict or the ruling, whatever. He said that he is not a war criminal. And then he pulled a vial out of his jacket pocket, coat pocket or somewhere. Glass, right in the World Court. They tried to stop him, but of course it didn't matter. He announced it to everybody. I just drank poison. This guy is dead now. Everybody, all the reporters, everybody around the world is stating they don't understand why he did that. Because he would be free in just a couple of years, counting time served and all of that stuff. So people cannot make sense as to why he did that. This is the reason why he did that. He identified he does not recognize the authority of that court. He is a high-ranking general in his country. In his mind, a defender of his people. And he was not going to recognize the authority of anyone else to identify as to what he can and cannot do to defend his people. And so by poisoning himself,
Alors, en s'empoisonnant,
the statement is that he defeats them. They do not defeat him because now he is a martyr. And what this means to the world, what the people don't know, is that you have a bunch of mad dog generals and soldiers in this world. And those insane people have the rest of the entire world held hostage constantly. And so what you're seeing from those mad dog generals and soldiers is they are getting ready for the things that they do. And this is going to increase now. War, the way that we may think, does not necessarily have to happen that way any longer. Wars are more successfully waged now today on paper, electronically, through the worldwide banking system. And so all the things that I have been seeing, I put them all together. And I look at the fact that there is only one voice that is speaking of this truth and warning the rest of the world and actually providing a plan as to how to deal with these situations. As all the work that you women did this summer to create that Women's Declaration, when you were doing it, you may have thought that, well, you're just putting on paper your thoughts and what your hopes and aspirations would be. But all of a sudden you find that there are women around the world following in your footsteps, because there are no other footsteps in the world that the women of this world would want to follow now, because they know all other paths lead to war, lead to more corruption and male dominance. So that voice of the Women's Declaration has, as you know, is expanding. As of now, what I know, there's probably more now, though. It's French, English, Spanish, German, Arabic, what else? Russian. Because the fact is that no matter what anybody else does out there in the world, They know that they do not have the path to peace. There is only one place. There's only one door to peace. And all the women of the world are going to walk through that door. And that is going to get a reaction from all the men of this world. You women, you think you've seen oppression in the past? You're going to watch it increase right in front of your eyes. You are probably going to identify it. If not tonight, it's going to show its ugly face to you. By tomorrow, it will show its ugly face to you.
Yes.
Some of you probably already have stories since the last time we have spoken of this ugliness. And so the men's declaration will complete the woman's declaration. And when we put those two declarations together, it will create the highest standard of human morality in the world. It will create the standard that all people will have no choice. They will have to abide by it. Because as of the end of our harvest, a couple of days ago, it was in the final day of the harvest that we revealed to everybody what our next phase is going to be. As all the women throughout Europe and the rest of the world stand behind the women's declaration and the men follow, then we're going to take the authority of these standards of humanity and we are going to lodge our charges of war crimes filed against Britain in The Hague. War crimes of genocide spanning over 500 years. And all the women and all the men around the world who are pushing the declaration are the ones that are going to push The Hague, the World Court, to hear these charges. There is an ugliness in the world. You don't want to deal with it in a fashion where you just deal with small parts of it, and every time you do, all you do is train it how to oppress you more. You want to go after this ugliness in a complete way through its own establishment, that it will be a successful blow against that male dominance that is oppressing and genociding around the world. So this is our phase, our next phase. People may not agree with what our agenda is. Of course, as you know, to me, it does not matter what people think. The fact is that these ugly things must be addressed, and no one in the world for the past 500 years has addressed these things in a fashion where it can be actually, where we can subdue that oppressor. So knowing all this, the powers that be will increase their pressures upon us. But you may think, and anybody may think, well, who are we anyway? We are the people who are setting the highest standard of humanity through truthfully addressing these oppressions and identifying a plan of how to rid this world of male dominance. So this is what we have seen happening in the world, and this is our response to it. But I will say that we have a very limited time. You may not believe that or not, but we are now running at almost light speed. The things that are happening are occurring so fast that for those of us who have been working in these things, it seems like everything is just a blur. But I know that everybody that has been walking this path since the summer joined the law recital. I know that everybody's in a whirlwind. One way or another, things are happening very rapidly around you. We gotta act fast. Men's declaration has to push through fast. Not to take away quality, but to know, as men, the enemy is approaching our village. We must go out there and confront that enemy before it gets into our village. The type of warfare that is coming and being introduced into this world now, it doesn't matter if you are a soldier in an army. Everyone is a target now. Everybody's energy is going to be mined by that enemy. So anyways, we got a lot of work to do. We got to move fast. This is our agenda, our next phase as to what we are going to do here from the Ganyangahaga Traditional Council. And if you want to work with us in any way, in any capacity, everybody knows that the way and the path to follow is the Dagani Diohade. We are not going by any other protocols. We are not going on protocols of friendship or protocols of perceived truths. We're going on protocols of law. As everybody knows who has attended and who have heard, the law of our Mother Earth. We will not stop. We will accomplish this goal. We will rid our Mother Earth of male dominance. So get ready, because anybody who is gonna even think of assisting us in any way, the enemy knows that we are truly the only people fighting them. And we know our enemy as our enemy knows us. So we know what they have to do. So everybody has to be thinking on these levels, of course, of we have to act fast, but we have to have quality. So now we'll go.
Somebody would like to comment, ask questions. I just have a comment. The event that Stuart talked about last night, we were there with Christine Rami Stuart and myself. And it's really, I posted the website for people to go and have a look at it. I'm going to send it to you on a private message, Jessie. There's this handbook called the Combat Integration Handbook. And it's just incredible to see how they maneuver to get the woman think, oh yeah, it is safe to bring women and have their children there, because their whole chapter about pregnant women in that combat handbook. So it's just to show you how they can brainwash. And I know, Jessie, you have like a big history with that. You did share with me. So if you ever want to talk about.
So what I wanted to ask you, Stuart, is regarding a radio show of Radio Info Cité that was done yesterday. And François Saint-Louis is talking to some guy, and he's kind of taking a position regarding the fact that, you know, the women would take more power in like you said, that women needs to manage the nation somehow, not necessarily directly to what you said, because they're using something else to go around this. But it seems like they're talking in such a way that like they're saying, like, if a man is actually submitting himself to a woman somehow, he's kind of becoming like a sissy or some kind of a weak man that has no stamina, and like that, like they always say to the men in the army, like, you're just a woman, you're just acting as a woman, like if it was a weakness or something. So I was wondering, what is your position in that regard?
I would imagine that you feel male oppression in hearing that. And I would imagine that it is so blatant in your face that you're probably shocked about hearing that. I would imagine that in your mind, it must be something that equivalent to what you would have heard, say, maybe 60 or 70 years ago. I'll identify that as a devolution of society. You have to think about this. Everybody thinks that today's society, democracy is the most advanced race ever. Technology has nothing to do with civilization. Clearly, with all the technology we have, it shows that we are not civilized. All of that technology is used against female. I would imagine that what is happening now in the world, that women are gonna start to be afraid. Never mind that women were starting to feel brave with this Me Too crap. This is a setup, the same way that Occupy was a setup right from Britain. You control the people, you see the people maybe waking up in one area of oppression, and you send a lot of oppression in another area, so you take the attention off of that first area. If this was something that was on live radio, I would say that that is equivalent to inciting a riot. So it is a criminal statement to make in a public arena, because by stating that, you create a psychological conditioning that is illegal. So position is that you should do something about it.
So I'll say it in English. I'm gonna keep doing really understanding this show that happened yesterday, and by the way, it was with Radio Info Cité, you know what that is. So they're using some kind of pretext of Manon Massé of Québec Solidaire, who actually that she wanted to change the word patrimoine because she says that this is too much of a masculine word, so it has to be another word now. So they're kind of trying to kill all gender, you know. So Radio Info Cité is actually commenting on what Manon Massé of Québec Solidaire is actually talking about, and they're saying that, you know, because of that, they're like bringing back the idea that if you are a man, you have to be a man, and you should not be like a sissy, like a woman. And if you are a woman, you know, like they're kind of like going back and forth with that thing, and I don't know where it's going. I didn't finish the show, but I will let you know if some of you can actually listen to that show. Then you can give me your feedback.
He says that he would be very interested in listening to that radio show. Where is it? She's asking.
So I'm gonna put it on the Framapad and on the other Mumble discussion, so Jessie can get it. Christine, I don't have you in my Facebook contact, but maybe Elsa Kim could actually put you with me.
Est-ce que tu voulais rajouter quelque chose, Christine?
Talking today about the event that happened at the turn of the last century in Quebec with the bridge going to Lévis, where 32 Kanien'kehá:ka men died and the government did not even acknowledge it. They did not apologize, and how this is a real, it's a real, kind of like knife in the side, in the shoulder, and we have to kind of like correct it. We have to take steps towards correcting it. So I didn't even know about this event. I've never even heard about it. Which is astounding. So yes, we were thinking maybe a documentary.
They're open to ways of bringing awareness on that event.
Yeah, I wanted to say something, address what France said about
François Saint-Louis,
Quebec, was it Quebec?
Québec Solidaire.
Quebec Solidaire identifying that they want to take away gender now. We have to be careful about how things look at first glance. We have to look deep as to how these things are truly connected to male dominance, because we forget that we've been locked in male dominance for over 2,000 years in the non-native world. So today, absolutely no one in this country associates the governmental system of democracy with male dominant oppression. The sleeping people actually view it as freedom, democracy. So when we remember that this so-called political system of democracy was created out of male dominant oppression ever since it was conceived over a couple of thousand years ago, that in order for anyone, any society to acquire democracy, it's only through violence. It is violence. It's oppression. It's male dominance. So when you know that you are in a male dominant system in the first place, and then somebody in there says, hey, we want to get rid of the genders, make it look like equality. If you're in male dominance and you're getting rid of genders, what gender are you getting rid of? You're not getting rid of the male because you're in male dominance. You're getting rid of the gender, you're getting rid of the women. We have to wake up to the realities. We can't be hoodwinked by the stupid people out there that are doing these things. And we have to confront these people as the true stupid people that they are. Because if you show respect to a murderer, to an oppressor, to a rapist, then there's something wrong with you. Because when you do that, you give your rapist, your murderer, your oppressor, you give them the power to do it to you. So as we said before, that here, Quebec, that they are, right now, they are the slave boy, the economic slave boy to the world through the free trade agreements that Justin Trudeau and Stephen Harper made. And so truly, right now, the economic wars that are being waged right here in so-called Quebec upon the women here. And if it is the Quebec women, then you know who they're standing on the shoulders of, on the native women. So the true thing that is being attacked is feminine identity, our mother's identity. You're not going to have women in the non-native world representing that. That can only be represented where it is left in this world. So only through the Women's Declaration applying to the two Row Wampum are we going to be able to stand complete with our hands held strong that nothing is going to break our grip. But again, that's only true accepting the truths.
Anyone would like to comment or have a question for the Longhouse? So if anyone if no one has anything to say for tonight, we suggest that we do the closing. There's France that asked to speak. So so the project that the initiative that France shared earlier about the social financing, if anyone, she's asking if anyone that showed interest would like to confirm if they could meet tomorrow. Donc, just simply contact France. She shared her email to on both of the chat. So just send an email if you are if you want to be tomorrow at 2 on Mumble to discuss what she suggested. Anything else?
Okay, just to remind everybody again too that on Sunday the 10th, where we're gonna discuss the things that we're doing, you know, meet face to face, we relax, we'll have a dinner together like we did a couple of weeks ago. We know that Natalie said that she wouldn't be able to attend, to be able to sing at that time, so we asked a couple other people. There's a few feelers out there. Maybe we'll have somebody performing some songs, some music. But since this is a mix of like I can't think of the word, not official gathering, you know, not informal gathering, but we're talking about business. It's a mix of stuff. So we need to have our minds entertained, you know. We need to have our some relief from the business sometimes. So we got to think that we have this space. It's our space. It's Elsa's house, but she's providing the space for us, for this group of people that are working on this path. So if somebody knows a singer and they maybe would want to sing, you know, ask. And if we don't have anybody to perform, then maybe if you have maybe you got a poem or a story to tell us. So just think about it. It's not restricted to it's this or it's this thing. It's whatever we want our input to be at that time. So out of that kind of space, the freedom, and of course with the business in mind, we could become a mix of very creative in our business. We can find together new approaches, or if not, at least spend a few hours and have a good time together. So don't forget, it's Sunday the 10th at Elsa's at what time? 4?
Yep.
4 o'clock?
Ouais, donc,
Oh, okay. One of the things that I wanted to relate to people of the things that I am seeing, that I am gauging things by. In our harvest ceremony, something occurred that I never seen in my life. A part of our ceremony where everybody plays a game together. It's a game that's played with 50 beans equal as points per each side, played between two parties. It's played with a bowl, a wooden bowl, and 6 peach pits. White on one side and black on the other. Anyways, in this game, which I have played now, let's see, I got 55 harvests under my belt. So that means I have 110 of these games in my life. And in my life, out of those 110 games, I have never seen what occurred during this game. We figured it out in my father's lifetime. I think it was over 200. I think about 210 games that he's seen, or a lot anyways. And he never seen this, and he never heard of this. So in our ceremony, we identified clearly that now we are in a new stage now, and a lot of things were identified, but this one thing stands out so unique that it is it's impossible not to recognize it as the equivalent to the rate and the pace that the things are happening now in the world, how fast they are changing. We're all very happy, and I guess we'll ask Edith to close.
donc, so Wahunsius, Oni Yunki Adizu, Atsko, Edith Ujet, Sista, Socorro Castellan, Actota Yundajisque, Francisca Rueda, Zapotecnio Hunsage, Meshika Onowarage, Renata Huni Yunki Nostadista, and Antoharage Ganosesne, Radinyangahaga Garnawager, Newisnio Hunsage, Onowarage Gauhnoge, Tiniti Nuwaradu, Garunwagarias Gesso, Dano Yunki Sota, Santoneca Garaqua, Dano Yunkinista, Hunsage, Dana Guegos Cat Negunumwe. Tiniti Nuwarado, Tarunuago, Dano Sawiskera, Aguego Ununqua Sua, Oguire Sua, Pacino Sua, Gata Sua, Ocitanagu Antano Ague Contirio, Honeste, Osahera Dano Ostra, Wata, Ganio Hundesa, Skanawatarana, Chuahuntia, Chitkaneka Garaqua, and the Yankisoto, Radiwara, Asanigatarage, Neganyangahaga, Radinyato, Renata Huni, Dano Radiscare Wage, Dagunse Dano de Ganawida, Danawago Diane, Dano Rodiane, Yoha, Hio, Canigorio, Dano Gayandawana, Kayanara Saragoa, Dano Degani de Yohade, Yunki Atagan Hadanda, Waron Hetzane, Canigorio, Yoha Hio, Dano Gayandawana. Dano Nogatena Yodaxa, Eresawet, Doganina Yota Sawandiguna.
Yeah.
Thank you. Good night.
Faites des beaux rêves.